So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite. Now, before I talk about the next match, which is Ruby Soho versus Toni Storm 1-on-1, we got to talk about one segment now. We see Bryan Danielson backstage in the doctor's room. The doctor's checking on him. Renee Paquette walks in, trying to interview him, and the doctor said, "You ain't going to wrestle." And Bryan Danielson was like, "You ain't going to tell me when I can't never wrestle. I'm going to wrestle either way. I can wrestle with a dislocated arm for a whole hour, and I'll beat every single body else and become the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion." So yeah, that's what he was saying. He said not Max Caster, MJF hides behind a mask and all that, talking about all he is a fraud, and he will take away the one thing he cares about the most, and that is the world title. So yeah, that's what Bryan Danielson said about MJF. But then we get to the next match. It was Ruby Soho versus Toni Storm 1-on-1. It was an okay match. It was going back and forth and everything. At the ending, we see Toni Storm hit a German suplex onto Ruby Soho, and then she hits that hip attack onto Soho in the corner, picks her up, and then hits a tornado DDT onto Ruby, pins her 1-2. Ruby barely kicks out 2. Storm then picks up Ruby, about to hit Storm 0 onto her, up until Britt Baker's theme song hits. Britt Baker walks out, standing on the stage. Toni Storm's distracted. Storm turns around, and then Ruby Soho hits her finish move, Destination Unknown, onto her, and then pins her for the 1-2-3. So yeah, Ruby Soho defeated Toni Storm tonight in a 1-on-1 match. That's what happened. Pretty good match. For that match, I'll give it 2.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. So yeah, that's why I'll give that match. But yep, after that we see the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF talking backstage, and MJF was talking about how Bryan Danielson ain't going to have no time to heal up with that arm hurt and all that stuff. And then he says he's going to retain the world title and everything if Bryan Danielson can make it that far. And MJF was talking about how he beat so many people, even Ellen meth head, pretty much. So yeah, Ellen DeGeneres meth head. So yeah, that's what MJF was saying. But then he says that Tony Khan already has a new person to take on Bryan Danielson next week, and they showed the footage, and it was Timothy Thatcher. So yeah, next week on Dynamite, it'll be Bryan Danielson versus Timothy Thatcher 1-on-1 next week on Dynamite. I know that's going to be a good one. So yeah, that match will be happening next week. Pretty good stuff there. But up next, we're going to be seeing Mark Briscoe making his AEW debut. Up next, he'll be taking on Jay Lethal 1-on-1 in the main event. This match is a tribute to Jay Briscoe, who sadly passed away last week. So yeah, the main event will be happening up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then.